A warm welcome to everyone in my YouTube channel. This is Ankita Agrawal. Today we are going to learn about cluster API in Elasticsearch. A cluster API is basically an API that is used for getting information about the clusters in Node. Here you can see the Cerberus screen is there, and you can see there is one node and 9 indices with 82 shreds and this much documents occupying 187.24 MB. Here we can see we are working on a student index. Now in order to find out the cluster health API, you have to work on the rest, and here you have to specify the node name and the address or the local. For that you will specify nodes slash 27.0.01, that's the address, and you have to get and just send it, and you can see all the information related to cluster will come. This is all the information. The cluster name is Elasticsearch, host is this, IP address, version. It will tell you about the settings, the cluster, the HTTP default, and all those things. If you will go down, you can see all such details related to the cluster API. Here you can see all those things like how much time it will take for fetching and all those. While scrolling down you can see everything. Now in order to find out the health of the cluster, the cluster health is basically a API that is used to get the status on the health of the cluster. For this you have to write on over here and again you have to get, and you can send it. Now here you can see all the details related to the cluster will come, like the cluster name is Elasticsearch, status is yellow, timeout is this, number of node, the number of data node, the shreds, active shred, reallocating, initializing, unassigned shred, delayed unassigned shred, number of pending tasks, the number of flight fetch, the task maximum waiting in milliseconds, and active shreds. So this is the way you can find out the cluster health. Now in order to find out the cluster state, what is basically the cluster state? The cluster state API used to get the state information about a cluster by appending a state word that contain basically the version, the master node, the routing table, metadata, and blocks. For doing that you have to write down over here cluster and then state, and then again you have to get it. Sent. Now here you can see, here you can get everything. Like I told, you can find out the cluster name, the version, about the nodes, then metadata mapping, information about the nodes. Then if you will move down, you can see the properties, the GUIP, the version, then about the indices, how many indices are there, the related mappings, and so on. Like we are having school over here, then mapping related to the school, what are the data types in that, what are the fields, etc. So in this way you can find out the cluster state. Now the next thing is cluster stats. That means the API that helps to retrieve the statistics about the cluster. It returns the shred number, the stored size, the memory, the usage, number of nodes, roles, OS, that is operating system, and the file system. In order to get that, you have to write on over here cluster and here stats. You have to again do the get. You have to send it. Now here you can see whatever I told you right now, that you will get the cluster name, the documents, how many store size they are occupying, the field data, then the query get, computations, segments, about the nodes. If we will move down about the version, then the OS they are using, then about the MEM, then the process they are using, then JVM they are using, and like that. And then again the network they are using and HTTP type. Now the next thing we are going to learn about is the node stat. The node stats is the API used to retrieve the statistics of a node of a cluster. In order to find a node, you have to write down over here. You have to again go to the rest, write nodes, and stats. Now you have to get it, so you have to put the get request and then just now here it will return all the information related to the node as well as the cluster. So this in this way you can use the cluster API to know about the cluster and the node health, their state and their statistics. Thanks for viewing my channel.